what they've managed to bring down on Chitwa's massive open area right in front of the lodge. So those guests must have had a wonderful day of watching lions feeding all day long. And look at the fat little bellies of those cubs. They are full. So nice to see them, and their mange is not looking too bad as well. They're looking a little bit better than the last time I actually saw them, which is good news. There's one or two that are a little bit mangy, but not as bad as I thought they would be. They seem to be coming right a little bit, and hopefully they'll be able to just last long enough for the rain. Once the rain comes along, then we're going to have a situation where these guys will be absolutely fine. Remember that the mite in mange proliferates during the dry period. As soon as we start to go into a wet period, then they start to calm right down, and the mites start to disappear, and the little ones then will stop itching, they'll stop scratching, and their fur will grow back nicely, just like the Nkuhuma cubs has, and they'll be okay. Look at the one on top of the tree there, just poking its head over the top. There's a fallen over tree, and there's just one little head that's, oh no, it's come down again, unfortunately. Oh, there it is. You see this little head just poking over? What are you doing? Oh no, now you're down again. I was having a little game on top there. So none of the tiny cubs are here. They've only just been born, so they won't be introduced to meat yet. For those of you that don't know, the third female gave birth, I think it was about, what is it now, 4 or 5 weeks ago. Very similar age, maybe a little bit older than the Nkuhuma cubs that we've got, so it's somewhere around there. So the third female, I don't see her at the moment. I think, oh no, no, I don't see her at the moment. I think she maybe is with those small little cubs after feeding. They often will go to the little cubs to go and get food, but the other cubs out here have bellies the size of beach balls. They can hardly move at the moment. They're kind of waddling around, which is great to see. So very cool to see the pride at least feeding well, and this will all help with combating those mites. Aiden, who's 6 years old. Hello, Aiden. I hope you're having a nice day. You want to know whether the lions will swim in the dam here. No, Aiden, they're not going to swim. The lions are a bit scared of water. They don't like water on their coats. Also, today is very cold, so they don't want to go into the water because then they're going to be wet and cold and miserable. And there's crocodiles, and crocodiles are very dangerous for especially little lion cubs. I've actually seen a lion cub being killed by a crocodile, and so you have to be very careful with crocodiles. And so the lions will avoid the water. They'll go and drink there, but they're not going to go and swim in the water at all. Even if it was hot and it was really warm and the lions were having a tough time dealing with all the heat, they still won't go swim in the water because of the crocodiles. They're going to be very scared of the crocodiles, and rightly so. Crocodiles are animals that you have to be very nervous of. Now, we've actually got some waterbuck that are still right here close to us that are watching the lions feed. I wonder if it maybe wasn't a youngish one from one of these adults, and that's what, or maybe it was the mother for one of them, and that's why they're sitting just watching the pride feed on them, which is not very nice, but it is the way it goes. It's how life works out here, and you'll find that sometimes if it's a mother or a young one for that mother, they will spend hours just watching the lions feed off them as they kind of work out what's going on and try and come to terms with the loss. There comes a hooded vulture that's going to land directly on the branch. That's very nice, isn't that? Wonderful to have a hooded vulture sort of at eye level close to us. It's a very cool sight. Now, the hooded vultures are the ones that will feed right at the end. They're going to be the ones that will get food only at the end of this carcass. They're going to basically be the last birds to get nutrition out of this. In fact, you'll find the whitebacks first, and then the hyenas, and then only will the hooded vulture get food later. And there's the whiteback vultures are on top, and there's a number of them still arriving. The clouds are seeming to part, a bit of sunshine is coming out, and that means we're going to get a situation where it will be perfect conditions for vultures to fly. It will be a bit windy, but it's going to be nice thermals that will start coming out, and they'll find this fairly quickly and then come and try and finish that carcass once the lions move off. Lynn, you're asking why is it that the Styx pride always gets mange? It's not that they always get mange, they just haven't recovered from the mange from last year. Remember, it's not exactly been a very wet year, and so the mange itself is still present in the adult females, and so they've had their young ones, and then unfortunately what's happened is that they've continued to carry that mange, and as it's gotten dry again, so it's proliferated and expanded and has gotten onto them. Also remember that the females, even though they're able to deal with the mite, the cubs, when they're younger, their immune systems are not as good. They also lie together a lot, whereas the females will kind of separate themselves a little bit more, groom themselves a bit better, whereas the cubs are rubbing up and constantly in contact, and so that mite crosses between them a lot. That, coupled with the fact that you've got a situation, oh, look at those faces, how cute is that? And that's coupled with the fact that these cubs, like I say, have a weaker immune system than the adults, means that they get the mite a little bit worse. Remember, the cubs from last year died, and these are new cubs, so that mite was introduced to them when they were still young, and that's why they've been battling with it. If we get a few years of wetter weather and these cubs survive and they build up an immunity to it, then the next dry season they should be a lot better off than what they are currently. You can see the older cubs in the background, they actually look a lot better than the newer cubs. So the one that's waddling off there, they look a lot healthier. Sea Control, do you asking if lions always carry the mange mite? Yes, they do. In fact, most animals carry the mange mite. Even people have mange on them. It's tiny, tiny little mites that live in the hair. It's completely natural. It occurs. But like I say, when it goes through a period of very dry conditions, that's when that mange populates, and you'll have a situation where it will get really out of control, and particularly in younger animals. The adults tend to be able to deal with it a lot better, but the younger ones tend to get a little bit out of control. Now, I do apologize if you guys are picking up a lot of wind. It's just here on Chitwa Open, it is completely clear of any vegetation, and that means it really blows through here, and we get a situation where it's going to gust. And so I do apologize if the wind sound is quite loud. There's unfortunately very little that I can do with the wind. It would be nice if it did stop. At least it's blowing these clouds away, and we at least have a nice clear sky above us. So hopefully tomorrow will bring about a little bit warmer weather and far less wind than we've experienced today. But how beautiful is the light on the Styx Pride? I mean, it's early afternoon, but it's beautiful. Ooh.